So again, you're listening to Investors Corner with Athena Paquette on Life Oasis Empowerment Radio Network. So now some tough questions, right? What was the deal you wish you would have let go of? If you could press the delete button on something recent or way past, what would you do?
I really don't have one of those. I can't really think of one. Land, every transaction has been successful. Rental homes, they've, for the most part, been pretty successful. I think maybe if I had anything to do over, would I do it different? I probably wouldn't do it different because I think I've learned along the way. So it's not really any deal that I wish I hadn't done or that I should have done.
So is there a deal maybe that you wish you would have taken action on? That you let one slip away?
None that I can think of. The only thing, generically speaking, I could say is if I had more time, because I do work full time, if I had more time to analyze more properties, like the next thing I want to go into is multifamily. So I know I've been lingering and I need to do more analysis so I can take the next step to move on to that. But nothing that I said, oh, I wish I would have bought that one. I can't think of that.
And so you mentioned you're going into multifamily now. So what does that mean?
So I want to buy plexes. So anything from like a fourplex to a small apartment building, something like that. Because I'm getting towards the retirement age. So I'm wanting to kind of solidify what are my investments going to be that's going to sustain me. So I don't have to keep kind of thinking so much. I want to have something kind of nailed down, and I think that's probably the next action I need to take.
So you're thinking in terms of the income in retirement.
Correct. Right.
Okay. And do you know where you're going to invest, or do you know where that is going to be?
I don't really. I don't know yet. I'm hoping someplace in California and ideally someplace local. So if I wanted to go and visit the property myself or have my husband do handyman work, he could do that. And I know that cash flow, it's more difficult in Southern California. So you really just have to be patient and find that right property. So ideally it would be someplace local, not out of state again.
So do you have an idea of how much income you need to create for your retirement? Do you have a number in mind?
I don't have a specific number. But I know because the variables change when I go through, okay, where do I want to retire? What are those income versus expenses going to be? So the number changes because that's not really locked down. I'm pretty confident, though, that hopefully I can retire within the next few years, though I don't have a specific number I'm targeting.
I'm sure your employer will be very sad that day. Let's see. So, this may sound kind of like a funny question, but people are very fearful of investing, and I really want to get across that this is can be fun, right?
Absolutely.
So what's the most fun thing you've done? What do you find a lot of fun in investing?
Definitely the land. That's my passion. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. And there's just nothing like seeing awesome returns. I've not seen anything like it other than land. So that really gets my blood going. Whether that's I just buy a property myself and flip it for profit, where I sell it for cash or on terms, where I carry the note, or if it's an assignment where I'm assigning a contract to a third-party buyer, and it's a win-win-win situation. It's a win for the seller, win for the buyer, and a win for me for doing the matchmaking. So it's all wonderful.
So I heard you right. The fun is in the numbers,
Yes.
the numbers of the return.
Yes.
I didn't hear the dirt is so much fun. Do you go to the dirt, or do you?
No, and that's another reason I really like this form of investing. I can do it anywhere, anytime, just from a laptop. So I have a lot of online tools that I use. I don't really ever have to go see the property. And it's really paper shuffling, really, in the end. That's what it is. But it's very profitable, unique niche.
So your ability to have processes in place kind of makes that successful for you.
Yes, correct.
So if someone's disorganized, this may not be their way, or can they still do it?
It depends. Again, you going back to your question about the team. If they have a team that's organized, they still could do it. So, it depends. I've kind of solely been the acquisition manager, the sales manager, the webmaster, the everything, the financier, everything. But doesn't mean it has to be that way. So I think some level of organization is good because there's a lot of volume, or at least in my business, there's a lot of volume. So I have some processes in place with websites and things the way I do things, as well as some email templates that I use and templates for letters and so on and so forth.
I want to talk more about the land now, because that seems to me from our conversations your passion, right?
Yes.
So what kind of tools do you use in that business, in the land business itself?
Well, I use different websites to actually purchase the land. For inquiries for sellers looking to sell their land, they go to one of my websites. If I'm looking to sell land, I have a different website, and I market on many, many different websites. So that's some
Third party, other people's websites.
Correct.
Okay.
And then land specific websites, and then I have different analysis tools that I use, spreadsheets to figure out how much to offer type of thing. And then just your online general, realtor.com and different websites to show you what properties are currently selling for or listed for to figure out value. And then I make my offers.
So your own spreadsheets, or are there online tools you've used for calculating? And
they're my own spreadsheets that I use, my own system. Right.
okay, but you're very good at spreadsheets, so hopefully there's online tools that someone can use instead of building a spreadsheet, right? Okay, good. So when you're investing in land, so what was your first land deal? Let's start with kind of the different areas of land that you've invested in, or the different types of deals you've done.
Okay. So I think the
And
first
of course, we have a spreadsheet here.
Yes. Well, I can't remember all the numbers actually.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the very first one. Okay, the very first one, I think I mentioned earlier, it was for $1,800 was the purchase price I paid to the sellers. It was 4 brothers and sisters that inherited from their parents. So I paid them $1,800, but I also paid their back taxes and the closing costs. So I was into that total for about $3,600. And that's the one I told my husband, okay, this little lot up in the mountain, we may never sell it, but are you good with it? And so he said yes. So I sold it to a person for $8,500 with owner financing. And to this day, he's still, and that was back in February of 2010, he's still making his payments every month. So that was my first deal.
February 2010. Okay. And when did you start the learning process with the land business?
I started that December of 2008.
December. So not quite, is that 2 years? Not quite.
No.
Year and a couple of months of learning, and then.
Right. So, but the first year really was set up learning everything, setting up a company, learning the infrastructure, learning how to research a property, setting up an 800 number. I'm really getting the business in shape and learning how to do a mail merge to send letters. It was all kinds of learning up front.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. And so that was your first deal. And you said you did owner financing. What does that mean exactly?
So
you were the owner, I guess, at that point.
Yes, correct. Okay. So I finance the property. So I collect a small down payment and then carry the note. And then I have a loan servicing company that I utilize that the buyers make their payments to, and they ACH the money to me every month.
Wow. So the buyer makes payments to this third-party company. Call it a servicer.
Yes.
And then this servicer just dumps money in your bank account?
Yes.
You said wonderful. It nicely as a ACH, but that's what happens, right?
Yes.
Wow.
They charge $15 a month for this service, very reasonable, that I have my borrowers pay. And it's awesome. They do collecting. If they're late, they do all of the end of the year, recording of the interest and principal. So it's really no hassle for me whatsoever. It's awesome.
So if I heard you right, you paid in $3,600, and then you turned around and sold it for $8,500.
Correct. Right.
Okay, so do you know what return that is?
With
I mean, my mind is
9.9% interest
on the payments. Okay.
on the payments, right?
Well, better than what the bank's giving you.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
But so your return on the note is 9.9, but when they pay you back completely, you invested 3,600 and you got back the difference between 85 and 36, so about $3,900
Right.
plus whatever interest they paid over time.
Correct.
So is that like a 200% return?
Yes, it is.
Do you have a number? Okay.
That's exactly
my
right.
little head was doing the math in my
You're
little
right.
head, but wow, I wanted to make sure I was understanding you. Wow. That's amazing.
But my second deal was actually better than that.
Really?
My second deal, do we have time to talk
We
about
do
it?
have time.
Okay. So that one, again, I bought 6 lots that were...
All at once?
All at once from one seller. It's actually 2 sellers that inherited it. They were out-of-state owners that didn't want this California land, these 6 parcels. And I was really scared because this was a big deal for me. This was a really big deal. I had talked to a couple of different realtors in the area to try and figure out how much were these 6 parcels worth. It was in an area in the desert I wasn't familiar with. So I got, they were worth between 100 and 200,000, big range. I wasn't really sure. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to take a stab, and I offered him $27,000. Had to use a home equity line to do that, but I bought him for $27,000.
Wow.
Within a short amount of time, the first lot I sold for 20, the second lot I sold for 40, the third lot I sold for 18, the fourth lot I think I sold for 22, and the last 2 I sold for 10. So I think it was about 100,000, whatever that math works out to be.
Wow.
So I was able to pay back my HELOC, and then that really got me started with
going.
investing. Paid back
Wow.
all of my educational costs and my LLC costs and all that. So that really got me fired up. And
That's really amazing. And how long a period did it take to sell all those lots?
That's a good question. They really didn't take that long. I would think some were within the first few months, some maybe into like the year time frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever rent them out while you were owning them, or they were just vacant land sitting vacant?
Just vacant
Waiting
land
for you to
sitting
sell.
vacant. No maintenance or anything. The only thing you have to pay obviously is property taxes, which is relatively low.
Wow.
So
So I'm hearing twice now that these people inherited property. So do you think that's a niche, or is that a driver for people to want to sell?
I think sometimes the drivers for people wanting to sell land is they inherited it, and or they're just behind on taxes and they see land as a burden and they don't know what to do with it, so they just want to dump it and get rid of it.
So is that why they sell
Or a
to you
realtor
so
maybe
cheap?
hasn't been able to sell it. Maybe it was priced too high. Could be different reasons.
Okay. So my curiosity was, why would someone sell something worth $100,000 sell it for $27,000?
Right.
So is that lack of knowledge, do you think, on their part?
I don't know if it's lack of knowledge. It could be or it could not be. And the reason I say that, I just had someone a few weeks ago contact me knowing full well that their property was worth at least 20. And he said, I just need to sell it for $5,000 and for you to pay my taxes. That's all I need. I need it quick. They just need quick cash. So I said,
Interesting.
okay, I can do that. So I sent him the money and talked to my realtor in the area, and she said we should be able to move that for $35,000.
Wow. That's
So-
amazing, Renee. So we talked about buying the land, but I'm wondering, how do you find these people? Could you tell us about that when we come back?
Sure.
Back to the land, Renee. So you mentioned that that you sold those few properties in under a year, 7-8 months. You were
Right,
thinking,
right.
okay. And so I see the spreadsheet. People, I can't believe it. So, how many pieces of land? How many plots of land have you invested in since the very beginning? Now, do you have an idea?
Oh, goodness. I haven't added them up, but I would say between buys and sells, probably 40 to 50 transactions around
Wow.
that neighborhood, something like that.
Wow. And it only in California, or where were
No,
they?
across the country. Across the country.
So when you invest in other states, you have to really depend on those tools, right? Because you have no
Absolutely.
gut feeling
Right.
or-
Or you might talk to a realtor or just information that you can research on the internet.
Okay. So you bought land that you own the actual dirt,
Right.
right? And then do you have any that you own right now?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a website where people can see what does this look like?
Sure. Yes. The land that I have for sale is on www.landrushnow.com.
Okay.
And I have a blog if anybody's interested in just learning what is this land investing thing. I primarily learned the information from a guy named Jack Bosch.
Okay.
So the name of my website, it's kind of long, or my blog, is landprofitgenerator-jackbosch.com, and Bosch is Bosch. And I have articles there that have answered people's questions throughout the years, and different tips and tricks on there, and so on and so forth. So there's
Can you
two
repeat that
places.
one again, though? The website for that one?
Yes, it's landprofitgenerator-jack Bosch, Bosch.com.
Okay. Wow. So on one website, they can see your land.
For sale.
That's for sale. Okay.
And the other is the business aspect.
I got it. Of doing the land business.
Correct.
Wow. So you've been a teacher.
I've been trying to help people,
Yeah.
yes.
That's amazing.
In
That's
my
so
spare
wonderful.
time.
Yeah. In all your spare time.
Yes.
That's amazing.